What up, everybody? This is DJ Marcus J, aka Mr. Block Party, and I'm here for another episode of the Metaversal Mindset Podcast. What up, everybody? This is DJ Marcus J, aka Mr. Block Party, and I'm here for another episode of the Metaversal Mindset Podcast. And I am joined by the one and only People's Publicist. And for anybody who's tuned in before, you know how I do. I do not like to actually introduce the guests. I like to have the guests introduce themselves. That way, if they miss some of the accomplishments, it's their fault, not mine. So, shout out to the one and only People's Publicist. Thank you for coming through. And would you please introduce yourself to the people?
Yes, everyone. I am Peeps, a.k.a. the Meta Publicist, a.k.a. Miss TMZ. I am publicist in real life, so I have a PR firm in Philly where I represent beauty, fashion, lifestyle, nonprofits, entertainment, sports. I've pretty much been all across the board, helping them get placements in the media and helping with their visibility strategies. In the Metaverse, here in the Metaverse about over a year ago. So in the Metaverse, I create content. I have a couple clients in the Metaverse who I actually create content for, and I actually do VR content on my page as well. I'm also
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some of that stuff. Shout out to Philly. We're going to talk about that a little later. Go ahead.
We can get into that. Go Birds. We can definitely get into that. And by the time this airs, let's say we're going to be Super Bowl champions by the time this episode airs. Yes. So, so I create content here in the Metaverse, just hopping around, having fun. Just content creation is fun for me. It's just one of the things that I love to do. And when I came into the headset and realized that I could do it here without having to brush my hair or look a certain way, it was all uphill from there. So I'm also on Sisters for Sisters, which is a show I have with my sisters Tink, Goddess, and Ferrari, where we sit on the couch and we talk about issues in the Metaverse community that affect us as a community. And I'm also co-host on Hello Soapstone every Wednesday at 3 p.m. with my sister Tink, and we bring awareness to the culture and Black community here in the Metaverse. So yeah, that's me.
You can tell she's a publicist. You see how she summed that up so quickly, so precisely. You need to hit her up. You need to hit her up if you need some help with that. I promise you.
Absolutely.
So I want to ask you
messaging right. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. The first question I like to ask everybody when they come on to the show is, what brought you into the headset?
I stumbled into the headset. The first headset that we had was not mine. It was my boys. My dad bought it for them for Christmas, and we're setting it up, so they're hopping around on it. They're playing with it, and my dad at first was going to buy 2 headsets. I'm like, they don't need 2 headsets, because I didn't really know what was going on. So they don't need 2, just buy them one. So for the first couple of days, they were arguing back and forth about who was going to play, how long they were going to play. Blah, blah, blah. Probably about maybe the second or third day I hopped on, I think we were playing Resident Evil. We kept taking turns trying to get through levels there. And then they went to bed. So I just put the headset back on. I'm like, let me hop around and see what's on here. So, because, I've been running a business for over 10 years now, full time for the last 6. And I'm like, let's see if there's any tools I can use here as far as business wise. So I think I hopped around. I think I did virtual speech. I was on Noda, where you can do the visualization boards and vision boards and stuff on there. So I played around with that. I was on Immerse, where you can do co-working. I'm like, okay, this is cool. Let's see what else is here. So I hopped into, I think I went on social, and I said, oh, you can download Instagram where I said, oh, that's pretty cool. And then it said Meta Horizon Worlds. I'm like, okay, let's click on it. It says social. Let's click on it and see what it is. So I ended up hopping in, and I saw that there was a Biggie concert. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Let me go in and see, how this looks. And I think I was there for an hour, just looking around, just amazed, what is this place? What's going on? And people started talking to me, and I'm like, I didn't know they can even hear me. People were just, because at that time we were just floating heads type of things just going around. And I was like, oh, they can hear me. Okay, let's see what else is on here. So I start hopping around, and I think I went to a couple of spots clubs or something. And then my business was really, and I'm like, well, there has to be something here, just not sure exactly like what it is yet. So my business was really busy at the time, and I didn't really have time to really get all the way into it. Fast forward to April 2023, my grandfather passed. And at that time, I pretty much shut down everything in my business. I couldn't focus on anything. I let clients go. I'm like, you know what? I just need a break, right? So through the summer, it was a whole lot of spending time with family. Once school came back around, kids started getting back in, I put the headset back on. And I'm like, okay, let's see what's updated. Okay, oh, we have legs now. Oh, that's pretty cool. There are legs. And then that's just kind of like where I kind of started. I started meeting people, started seeing that people were doing business here. People were like the same strategies being used on the outside are being used here. And I'm like, well, maybe I could find my way here. Maybe I can get back into my groove of things because I lost it. Like maybe I can just try my footing here. And I had the flexibility at the time to just, kind of just spread my wings and see what it was I wanted to do. So that I guess that's my long story on how I stumbled into this and just kind of got immersed in the community from there.
Actually, I like that development of how it progressed. For a lot of people, something that you mentioned actually happened. Some people may peek into VR for a little while. For whatever reason, they may kind of step back some and then come back in and see how many things have changed. And a lot of times that actually makes them even want to focus even more in VR. So I've heard a similar story from a lot of people. So that is actually pretty cool. That is pretty cool. And I got to take a side note on this one, total side note. But when Peeps mentioned that Biggie concert, I can't front. Shout out to Meta for doing that. It was one of the most amazing things I've seen in here. Of course, it wasn't actually Biggie. It was a avatar representation of Biggie. Well, let's just say Biggie and
like a hologram type of thing.
It was a hologram. It was a giant, like Biggie would have been. If you were looking at this real life, Biggie would have been like 200 feet tall, kind of thing. Like it was an amazing, fully immersive experience. And I think the best part of that, I mean, I love the entire concert, but what I really, really love was how it ended when they had Biggie in the back of the Benz driving through the city.
Yes, driving through the city. Yeah.
And it was, really because unfortunately, RIP to Biggie Smalls, he passed, and we know for his funeral, his casket was taken through the streets that way.
Yeah.
But they flipped it in a positive way and didn't have his casket. They actually had him. And he was kind of taking in everybody cheering. It was like one of the most amazing things I've seen in here. So shout out to Meta for that.
Yes.
Hopefully we will see some more events like that. Speaking of shout outs, shout out to Yada Yada. She just happened to step into the studio.
Hey, Yada Yada.
Big ups to her. But I'm sorry, peeps. So back to you.
Oh, you're good.
So we're going to talk a little bit about you being a publicist, I should say, inside the headset as well. So let's talk a little bit about that, but then I also want to talk about the differences between the two.
Yeah, so the name, the Meta Publicist, I wanted to represent myself and what I do, my business on the outside, because I was bringing my brand in here. I think I started off with a different name, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because I think, remember we had the home environments, you load into your home. Every time I load into my home, it was a different name, but I can't remember what the name was. But whatever it was a different name. And I'm like, so once I started, I'm like, well, I can do business in here. Let me change around to the Meta Publicist. Now, hopping around in the metaverse, I was just kind of like, let's see if, people here first, let's see if anyone would actually need my services here, because I know that everything here is just starting out, and we are just starting out. There's not too many people who really need a publicist, at that point, and this being such like a ground level place, it was like, let me just kind of get immersed, see what people are doing here, and see how I can use the skills that I have to be able to help. So when I hopped in, I'm like, okay, people can use PR here, but we got to kind of start from the ground up, right? So I'm like, we need to see more content coming from people. Like I started a different Instagram page like everyone does when they hop into VR. And I started following people, and getting to know people, through that. And I'm like, well, I was pretty much stumbling upon the things that I found just by searching around the headset. But I'm like, I'm not seeing people promote their worlds and stuff like that as much on social media. So I'm like, well, let me just go ahead and start doing this. So I like doing content. I'll just start hopping around and doing some different things. So as far as that part of PR is more on the visibility side of creating content. So that's what I do here in the metaverse. So I'm helping you create content. I'm creating content so that we can get these people immersed in this and let them know exactly what's going on here in the metaverse. So it's more of a brand awareness type of thing going on, setting the stage for creating content before you actually do PR, which is media outreach. Now on the outside, I am helping like larger brands to secure media placements. So these are people who have an established presence on social media already. They're already creating the content. They're already bringing in the revenue. They just need someone to come in and step in and kind of just blow it up. So I'm helping them find their audience through different outlets, whether it be through podcasts, whether it be through online magazines, TV shows, and things like that. I'm helping them put their brand in front of their audiences.
You kind of actually you touched base on this a lot, but I just want to kind of maybe help to separate this for people who are thinking about coming into the headset, or maybe people who are already doing business in the headset. What would you say is the biggest challenge for doing content creation for people inside the headset versus outside? Or I should say, what are the biggest challenges that you flat out face when somebody inside the headset says, "Hey, I need your help"?
Challenges you run into. That's the crazy thing. It's not really too many challenges here in the headset as far as creating content. I would say like you have everything here, and if you don't, you can create it, right? So there's no limits to what you're able to create here. We can pull out our camera now. I will say, camera angles sometimes shitty. I wish we can I curse on here? I'm sorry.
Feel free.
Okay. Camera angles are sometimes, shitty, avatar posing may be kind of crazy with these avatars that may look a certain way, but you can pretty much create anything you want to create here in this space. So there's really like no limitations to that. And that is my sole purpose of when I talk to brands on the outside about what's going on here. I put the emphasis on there are no limitations on what you can create in here. You don't have to have a huge budget to create something special here in the metaverse. What you're looking for, if you're looking for a set, if you're looking for a certain location, you can find it in the apps. You know what I mean? You can find a beauty salon here in Horizon Worlds or over in VR Chat. You can find a beautiful beach to lay on and promote your suntan oil or something like that. So there's really no limitations to it here in the metaverse, except for maybe, the camera things and stuff like that. But on the outside, you do run into these things. You run into things about budget, location, time, money. Those things are things you run into on the outside and limit you from creating the content that you want to create. So my goal, as far as bringing businesses into the metaverse as well, is letting them know, like, listen, you can create endless content here. Endless possibilities are here in the metaverse for you, and you don't have to break the bank.
That was kind of a leading question for me. And I tried to make it seem like it would be difficult to do content in the headset, and me knowing it's the complete opposite. So I try to tell people, like, you can do whatever you want in here.
You can literally whatever you want to do. There are no limitations, none. It's amazing. I love it here.
Look, I like the example that you meant, like, hey, if you want to I should say promote skincare products, whatever the case may be, and you can be on the beach, guess what? You can do that 365 days a year. It's not like, oh, we have to get this shoot in the next 2 days, because if not, it's going to rain or whatever the case may be. No, you're going to be able to recreate that situation as many times as you need. So that is one of the amazing things.
It gives a different element to your brand as well, because you can really, there are so many suntan oils or skincare brands or hair care brands out there, but who's creating content in the metaverse? You know what I mean? You have to kind of separate yourself from your competitors. You're all selling the same things, but this gives a different element once you bring it in here, and it's more immersive. Or like your audience that you already have. Like, let's say you have 100,000 people on your email list. Do you know people will look at that new content and say, oh, this company is doing something new over here, let me go see what their product is about, let me try it. This gives a whole different element to your brand and kind of separates you from the masses.
To actually add put a pin in, I shouldn't say put a pin, but to add to that, behind the scenes, I can't even front. Shout out, and I got to say a huge thank you to Peoples. She's been helping me with some things, and not just that, but she gives pointers. And if you're not checking her content, I advise you to check her content on IG. Her content isn't just basically showing you what she can do. She's telling you what you can do as well. So, and I know she has a couple products and some things coming up here soon. So we're going to talk about that, if that's okay with you, at the very end of this here. At the very end of here. So let's take a quick pivot, because you being a publicist isn't the only thing that you do in here. I also know that you're a part of a show called Sisters for Sisters.
Yes,
can you tell the people a little bit about that?
Yeah,
S for
so
S.
it's yes, S for S, Sisters for Sisters. We are four sisters from all different walks of life, for all different ages. And we come together and we sit on the couch every single Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. and we just have girl talk. And we have people on and guests, and we talk about things that we have mental health check-ins. We talk about, problems and issues here as women in the Black community, and how we can help each other grow and thrive. So it's a good time. I always say that Wednesdays are like my favorite day of the week because I get to sit on the couch talk with my sisters. But yeah, we met in this space. We didn't know each other before we came in this space. Like a lot of people here, you meet when you first get into VR. So we kind of just gelled from there. We I think we were just sitting having a conversation. We were just like, this feels good. Let's keep doing this every single week. And we've been running for almost a year now. Shout out to DJ Marcus, Mr. Block Party Radio, for hosting us on his radio station as well every Thursday nights at 11:30 p.m. as well. So it's a good time every Wednesday. I love it there.
Yeah, I definitely have to say a huge shout out to Tinker Love, a huge shout out to you, a huge shout out to Goddess, a huge shout out to Ferrari Monet,
yes.
A huge shout out to DJ Nola, and a huge shout out to executive producer of the show, Jen Smash. So I have to say, yeah, huge shout. And also I have to say personally, I have been recording the show for you all since it started. And I remember how the show originated to see what it's grown to now. It's something amazing. I definitely see the work that you ladies have been putting in, the growth that you ladies have been putting in, and all the stuff that you've been doing for the community as far as topics, and not just on the show, but outside the show as well. So I have to say a huge salute to you all for that.
Thank you. Thank you for believing in us and pushing us, for sure. We'll be able to do it.
Look, it was easy on my end. I saw you all were talented. I saw you all had the drive, and I saw you were determined. So I'm like, hey, let's make it work. So again, salute to the six of you. I can't say the four of you. I have to say the six of you.
The six,
so,
yes.
You have to say the six of you. And now we've had a previous episode of the podcast where we had them on. So if you really want to know even more about Sisters for Sisters, I encourage you, tap into that episode. And if I'm smart enough, at the end of this video, for those who check it out on YouTube, I'll put a link to that episode. So I'm going to try to remember that. But knowing me, I probably won't. But anyway, so that is not the only show that you're a part of.
No,
there is a new show that a couple weeks ago, big shout out to you and Tinker Love as well. The two of you became official hosts. And I want to make sure I'm going to say one of the Soapstone shows because I don't want to say it wrong. So please tell the people the exact name of the show.
Yes, well, it's Hello Soapstone, formerly known as Good Morning Soapstone. So it's every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Me and my sister, Tinker Love 1980. And Tink, she just brings me into a lot of things, right? She just like kind of just puts me in things and like, can you help me with this? Can we do this? And she came me with this, and I'm like, another thing, Tink, another thing. But I knew that it was crucial for us here as a community to start getting recognition that we needed. I felt as though I feel as though we deserve the same opportunities and the same spaces to grow and thrive here. And I knew that this opportunity that we had to shed light on what we were doing here that was positive was something I wanted to be a part of. So she said, can you come co-host with me? I think I gave like a night to think about. And I was like, I woke up, thought about it. I was like, you know what? I'll tell her yeah. So, and now every single Wednesday, it started off at first, Lolly D brought us on. Big shout out to Lolly D for believing in us and wanting us to, thrive in that space and giving us the tools that we needed to thrive in that space. It started off at 1:00. 1 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays. We're now moved to 3 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays. And we are officially the official instance for Hello Soapstone. So we talk about everything there as far as what's going on in the metaverse. We have guests on sharing exactly what they're doing, their products, their services, the creations, the events that they're working on, and just shedding a positive light on us, as a culture. So yeah, it's very dope, very dope. So I'm
It
definitely
really
happy to be
is.
there. Shout out to Soapstone, shout out to Bart, Perk, um, Aaron, all of them. So yeah, thank you for welcoming us in with open arms.
Yes, big shout out to Soapstone. I think I've only missed maybe just one of them, so I do try to make it a point to have a
I
schedule where I
think that
could
was the
tap in to
time
go
where
ahead and
the
see them.
the instance was crazy. I think there
Yeah,
was a time the instance was really messing up that one time. So, yes, but you are definitely a faithful viewer, a faithful show
yeah, they
watcher,
they definitely do
definitely.
their thing. I truly enjoy the show,
We
and
appreciate
we're
it.
gonna talk on another show about that trivia contest that they have that they slight us on. They slighted me on, but we're
Mm-hmm.
not gonna talk about that
Mm-hmm.
today. We're not gonna talk about that today. So you mentioned something while you were talking about soapstone, and that is representation. And
Mm-hmm.
this is February. This is Black History Awareness Month. So I kind of want to pivot really quickly to an event that I just found out today. The two of you, or the two of us, I should say, are actually going to be a part of.
Yay!
And
Yes.
it is a panel discussion that is going to be taking place February 22nd. And it is by Black Meta Connect.
Yes, yes. Unique and Black Meta Connect. Yeah. Unique,
And shout out to
I've
Unique Soul.
shout out to Unique. She's just the sweetest person. I'm not even don't even remember how we met, but we did and we clicked. So I love her. But yes, she's a Unique Soul dot 3D on Instagram. She has Black Meta Connect and also Influence VR. So she's having a panel. She's having different events actually every single Saturday of February. Last weekend was like the kickoff event, which was really, really dope. It was a different, I forgot the name of the world in VR chat, but it was definitely like a rooftop vibe. It was very dope. And then this Saturday, she's going to have the poetry jam over in VR chat. I'm not sure the event for next week, but then the following week after that, we have our panel where me and you will be
Yes.
joining a host of others, just talking about different things. So it should be fun. It should be fun. So, and it's her first one. So she's thinking of definitely making this annual, and we are all behind her and in support of her and whatever she does in this space. So, yeah, it's important that we represent us in this space and the things that we're doing and putting a positive light on it. So, she's definitely taking the reins with that as far as Influence VR and MetaConnect. So, big shout out to Unique.
Yes, definitely big shout out to Unique Soul. Unfortunately, I was unable to make the last event, but I'm trying to make this one Saturday. And of course, we have
Yeah.
our panel too, like I said, coming after.
Yeah.
So definitely that. So I had to say a big shout out to Unique Soul. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yes.
All right. So we've hit a couple topics here, talked about some stuff that you've done in the past, but maybe let's talk about some stuff that you may have upcoming, some things that you may want to do. Is there anything that you want to share?
Yeah. I do want to share that my podcast is coming back. I started a podcast years and years ago, but it's still ranking pretty high on on Google and stuff. So I want to definitely bring that back, and I'm going to add in elements of the metaverse there, interviewing people who are in the metaverse doing things as well, and like I said, just share more light on what's going on here, so that other business owners can take heed to what's going on and possibly hop on in the beginning and get their brands established here before I believe everything goes up. So, just being pioneers of this space and just giving them the tools and the resources and the know how to operate in the space as a business, going forward. So, I'm going to be sharing a lot about that on the podcast, as well as other ideas on how to get visibility for your brand, marketing strategies, content strategies, and things like that. So, um, I believe it or not, I don't like talking like in front of people, right? But the headset kind of gives me like the courage to do that because I'm not like talking in front of people, right? And if you see my videos like on my Instagram page, on my PR this and that page, you will see my face a lot. So I push myself out there, to do these things. But when I'm like talking behind the mic, like a podcast, like I can kind of ramble and ramble on. So if you do listen to the podcast, expect a lot of rambling, but there's a lot of value in the rambling for sure. So yeah, I'm working on that. New episodes will be releasing next month, so I'm excited about it. And then also starting more on the content creation side as far as the Meta Publicist. So showing people tools and resources that they can use as far as content creation, different AI tools. I use Viggle a lot, which is like the dancing type of thing on with AI and my content and my avatar. So showing different resources, tips on Canva, tips on how to schedule your content, organize your content, edit your content. Those are the type of things I have coming over on the Meta Publicist page. So I'm very, very excited about this year and where it's going.
I can tell you I am looking forward to your podcast returning. You've shared links with me before where I've went through and I've listened to your podcast, not all of them, but some of your previous podcast episodes.
Thank you.
Most of them are quick listens, like literally 15
I like
minutes or
quick
less or something like that.
I do like the quick listens, like the quick give you a tip and you just run with it. You know what I mean? So the interview, when I'm talking by myself, I might be a bit quicker. Like interviews will probably be a bit longer, of course, but like just me talking by myself will probably be less than 15 minutes. I try to keep them at that.
Now, I know when she first mentioned to me that she was thinking about bringing her podcast back, and I'm throwing this out there, subliminal messages. But when she told me that she was bringing her podcast back, and I'm looking at the content that she had previously, I was like, it'd be super cool if she took that same content, but just flipped it for the metaverse. And I'm not saying she's going to do that, but the same topics that she had, I was like, you know what? People in VR need to learn this. But some of those same topics, where it's like not even reinventing the wheel, but I was like, wow, she flipped and did this same version to show people how to apply this same technique or this same thing that she's talking about in VR. So I don't want to say anything. Maybe that's what she's doing. I don't know, but I'm just mentioning that. So
no, I know. Listen, I'm the queen of repurposing content. What I know for sure is that people don't listen the first time, right? They don't listen the first time. We all don't listen the same way. So someone might respond differently to a video than they will if written out for them. Some people are going to read captions. Some people are only going to read what's on the screen. They're not going to go inside the caption and read anything. So what I know is that you don't have to talk about different things every single time you're putting out content. You just talk about the same thing in different ways. That's all, because someone new is going to see it, or not even new. Someone that thought they saw it 2 months ago is going to see it again, the next week or 2 months after that. But they have to constantly see the same messaging over and over and over again for them to get it. It's not going to be a one-time thing. So you don't really have to spend time creating anything new. Just repurpose, what you have. So DJ Marcus he's on to something. He's on to me. So
I already know she does stuff like that. So subliminals. And one more subliminal. Hopefully, when she does bring her podcast back, we can get it on Mr. Block Party Radio.
Another subliminal.
That's another subliminal. That's another subliminal.
Very subtle.
All right.
Very subtle.
Peoples, I know you are a busy person.
I got you.
I appreciate it. Before we get up out of here, is there anything else that you want to share with the people, as well as how they can contact you? And I'm going to throw one other thing out there. She has some products that I've seen on a website from her that
I do.
I want to make sure we mention those before we get up out of here.
Yeah, I have the Chat GPT playbook. It's for helping you to pitch your service, your brand, your company to the media. It's also prompts in there for content creation. There's prompts in there for email marketing and just marketing in general. There are 30 AI prompts you can use to put in the Chat GPT, and it'll help you get started, with your visibility. If you need any help further from there, I do offer one-on-one consultations. They are for an hour and a half. It's all recorded, so you can look back at it, replay anytime you need to. And we talk about what you want to talk about as far as visibility. We talk about your visibility plans. I help you put together a structure plan that's going to help you with visibility from like 3 to 6 month type of plan type of thing. So it's very popular service. So I'm not sure how many calls are left as of right now on my calendar, but I know there are still some for February. So if you guys want to hop on, definitely get on those. And I'm also accepting new clients as far as content creation here in the metaverse through People's PR, and also with PR this and that, with media placement. I'm accepting new clients there as well. I have a TikTok page, which is PR this and that, and the Meta Publicist. I'm on Instagram at the same two names, Meta Publicist and PR this and that. You can find me on Threads at the same names. I'm everywhere. YouTube, same names. Like I'm everywhere. So you can find content from me on all these different platforms pretty much. It's pretty much on a consistent basis. If it's not every single day, you'll find at least one piece of content from me on each platform at least once a week. I try to make sure I'm consistent there with my message. So find me everywhere, the Meta Publicist or at PR this and that.
Peoples, I thank you for coming through and sitting down on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's all good. We'll have to, of course, I'm quite sure you'll have other endeavors here, like in 6 months. It'll be a whole nother thing that you're doing here. We'll probably have to get you back on the podcast. She moves that way in the metaverse. She moves that way in the metaverse. It's always
something, isn't it? It is always
yes,
something.
It is.
Here in the metaverse.
And on this one, I'm going to say,
definitely be back.
Oh, go ahead. I appreciate it. And full disclosure, this episode is recorded the week of a enormous football game that is happening between a team from Philly and a team from Kansas City. So when you heard Peeps make that comment earlier, she is foreshadowing, projecting her thoughts on what's going to happen this upcoming weekend. So
we getting that.
And I got to mention this. You got some crazy content with your avatar doing stuff, celebrating Philly on her socials. So I don't have a dog in the fight for either team, but since you're here, you're from Philly. Hey, I got to mention that. But definitely check her content out that she has on IG for this upcoming game.
Yes. Go Birds. We getting our lick back. For sure.
Again, thank you for coming through, Peoples, and sitting down. My name is DJ Marcus J, a.k.a. Mr. Block Party, and this was another episode of the Metaversal Mindset Podcast. And if I'm smart enough to remember, which I'm not, I'm going to try to remember, like I said, to put that link from the previous episode of Sisters for Sisters on here so you can learn even more about it. I appreciate it. Thank you. Because I'm not going to remember. Again, everybody, this has been another episode of the Metaversal Mindset Podcast. Till next time, peace.